Well, hello everyone, and welcome to all of my new subscribers. So I posted on Twitter, I think yesterday, sorry, I just got out of the shower. But I posted yesterday on Twitter saying that if I got to 100 followers, I was gonna do a Q&A. I still have birds too. And I really didn't expect it to go as quickly as it did, so the Q&A is really not ready. So I'm at 99 subscribers as of right now, which is close enough, okay? So, you know, be that one lucky person who gets to be the 100th subscriber, which I realize in the grand scheme of things is like a drop in the bucket as far as subscriber counts go, but for me, it means that there's 99 individual people out there who listen to me talk about my pets nonstop. There's more people than who tolerate it in real life, and I feel really good about that. So thank you, Kita. This is who the video is about, by the way. So thank you so much for hopping on this bandwagon of craziness. And I put on my special sparkly 100 subscriber shirt and showered, didn't dry my hair. If you're wondering why my face looks like crap and where my channel name came from, I have endometriosis, which is an inflammatory disease that causes internal bleeding and hormonal reactions. Hence why my face is all broken out. I'm in a lot of pain most of the time. Enough about me. Thank you so much for subscribing and welcome to the show. So yeah, I got a budgie, not recently. I got a budgie in June. So if you've been here for a minute, you know that my budgie Nala passed away in June, and her best friend Chip was having a bit of a rough time. So I got Kita, kind of try and help him out, which backfired. That's fine, that's another story. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. So I brought Kita home, not long at all, actually, after Nala passed away. And that is partially because that's when she was available, and that is also partially because I don't want this to come off insensitive, but I am someone who finds a little bit of comfort in my grief by not replacing that animal, but I do find comfort knowing that the hole in my heart from the loss of my pet is an empty space for an animal who might potentially need it and could benefit from that love. And it really does help me kind of see the positive in that loss and in that pain, knowing that because of it, I'm able to help another animal. So I do tend to get animals not long after I lose pets, and it's part of how I grieve. I really don't want to go into it farther or justify it. That's just part of how I do. Moving on. Kita was listed on Kijiji, which is the Canadian version of Craigslist. I mean, we have both, but everyone uses Kijiji. So Kita was listed on Kijiji. A young girl, she was like 14 or 15, had adopted her from PetSmart and was selling her for like the typical reason. She wasn't receiving proper husbandry, she didn't have time for the bird was being neglected, and so on. Kita was only about a year old, and she had a mate who passed away about 3 weeks after they were initially purchased. So she'd been by herself for a year in a really, really small cage. So the following footage is from the day that I got her up until now, and just kind of showing that progress. Now, admittedly, she is not as far along in the taming process as I would have liked, and that is entirely my fault. I was working 4 jobs this summer, and like taming kind of fell on the back burner just a little bit, but I am, she's literally like right up there right now. But I am back to working with her regularly. She did learn how to step up and then has since regressed a little bit, so I am kind of having to re-implement that, but a little millet goes a long way, and I'm pretty confident that she'll be fully tamed pretty soon. Let's get into the footage. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. Thank you again for coming to join my little family over here, and I would love to chat with you and get to know you guys in the comments down below. I am working on a budgie care guide. I've promised it for so long, so if any of you have budgie related questions or budgie care questions, please post them and I will answer every single one in an upcoming video. So this is our new addition. Picked her up last night from an online ad. Clearly, this is not my setup. So I haven't gone in yet and taken those sandpaper wraps off her perch. Sorry, I have a very jealous Cusco hanging out right now. So Cusco has met her a few times just through the cage bars like this, and she's so interested in the other birds. Oh my gosh. Wow, Cusco. Here, you're being rude. Good boy. She's been very interested in the other birds. She also recently lost a mate, so I'm hoping that her and Chip will buddy up. That's actually Chip talking to her right now. All right, so new girl has been home. This is day 3, I believe. Yeah, day 3. Cusco's a jealous boy because I put him away so I could film. So Miss Kita just came out of her cage for the first time ever. So that's super exciting. I was sitting on the floor reading a book with Cusco, because I've been reading to them lately since Nala passed away. They really like it. And she just shot out of there like a rocket. And now she's just chilling on my bed, kind of trying to orient herself. So I got out of the way of her cage, which is over here. And I'm just letting her figure it out. She's just chilling. She's definitely a little spooked for sure, but that's okay. You know, she's learning how to be a bird. Cusco is still really jealous, but at least now he's on my shoulder, so he feels a little bit better. Oh, now he's over there. Here. Can you let her figure stuff out? Cusco. Thank you. Okay, so she's tired herself out. She's just kind of camped out on Sushi's cage here. And the sun's getting ready to go down, so I'm going to start trying to coax her back into her cage. It is starting to get dark and the rest of the flock are going to bed, and she hasn't quite figured out how to get back in it yet. I do sometimes have people ask me, like, how do you let untamed birds out of the cage and get them back? This is how. You put their cage, leave them alone, and eventually they will go back in. And that's how it's done, y'all. Budgie in the hatch. Alright, so part of my whole taming process is I like to get them into a bigger cage, especially if they came like this, which is not proper husbandry at all. So I like to give them a little bit more space, especially where I'm not going to be putting Kita in the aviary right away. Partially because Chip is on antibiotics right now, and also because Indy is a little bit dominant over her. Kita is in her new cage. And in typical Budgie fashion, she hates it. I ended up putting her back in the bathroom and then toweling her a second time, which was much more effective. She is not pleased. Budgies generally hate new things, and this is a lot of new things for her. Also, she's currently attempting to eat that perch. She's just having a bit of a moment, but she will settle down. Been letting her out every day, and she's getting much better at flying. I mean, it's still not great. It usually takes like a good couple of months before they really get good at flying. But while she's out, I thought I'd give you guys a little cage tour of her temporary setup here until she's integrated into the aviary. So originally, when she arrived, she was in, it's down here now, this cage here. So this one is definitely not appropriate for a budgie. I mean, it would be fine as like a travel cage or a sleep cage or like even a quarantine cage, but to live in long term, not ideal. So some things you want to avoid with budgie cages. So at minimum, they should be able to open their wings like twofold. So basically a budgie with fully open wings, you should be able to fit 2 of them in here, and that's an absolute minimum. Again, not sustainable long term. So that's basically what she was in. And now keep in mind that when I got her, they actually had 2 budgies in this cage, and one of them passed away before I got Kita. So like a while before. She's not sick, everybody. Anyway, so to keep 2 budgies in here is not only detrimental to their overall mental health, but it's also quite dangerous because they'll start competing for space, and you know, that's not great. Anyway, so if we open this up, this little latch is not super secure. Like, I can open it. I think she could probably open it too because they did have a lock on it. And then down here, if we look at all of the nice healthy pellets that she threw on the floor, you'll see she's on sandpaper. So sandpaper is not great for budgies at all. Not only does it harbor a lot of bacteria when you use it as a liner like this, but it can cause what is called bumblefoot, which is caused by prolonged standing on sandpaper or other really gritty surfaces, can cause skin irritation and basically like blisters. Her dowel perch was also wrapped in sandpaper, and I took that off as soon as we got home for the same reason. Dowel perches are also not great perches. They're fine if you only have like one in there and have a variety of other perches, but the biggest reason they're kind of a no-no is because they don't have any texture and they don't have any variation to them. They're all one size. So if you can imagine to the same thing your entire life, all those joints and ligaments and tendons in your foot and your hand are going to get very, very stiff. So they, over time, will cause, you know, basically arthritis. Right, so Kita's up the top, and Indy is just inside. I don't even think I can get the camera there. Oh, they're meeting. Okay, I'm sorry I looked at you, Indy. I'll stop. Lady, this is not where you live. You live in there. Yeah. She's been up here for like 3 hours. She knows where the cage is. She just doesn't want to go in it, which is an issue because I have to be at work in half an hour. But she's molting and cranky and doesn't give a flying crap. So this is fun. She also did step up today for the first time ever, but Cusco, can you stop regurgitating onto me? Thank you. It's gross and people can hear it. Anyway. So she did step up one time, but not enough that I can confidently get her back in this cage. So I don't want to like leave her out, but like also I have to go to work. So I don't know what to do. All right, so Miss Kita has been here for about 2 weeks and I am back from vacation. So I think it's gonna be time today to try and integrate her into the aviary. And the way I usually go about this is I'll let the new bird meet the others outside the aviary first and get acquainted. Hi, Cusco, wanna come out? Which she has already done. So now I'm gonna go ahead and begin the process of moving her in. So before, hi guys, Chip is molting right now, so he's not the happiest camper, but he's getting some supplements and doing okay, so he'll be fine. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna move all these toys around and I'm gonna disinfect all the perches just to be safe. I did do this last week before I left to go on vacation, but as you can see, birds are messy, so we're gonna give this all a good clean. And I'm gonna move all of these toys around. And the reason you wanna do this is so that they kind of have to reestablish their territories a little bit and they can't get too possessive over one space. And it makes it a little bit more neutral of an environment for the incomer so that she doesn't quite have to fight for her place in the aviary where they're also established in here. Especially Mr. Indy. Yeah, look at me, little buddy. Who is definitely the most dominant one in here, which is like hilarious because I rescued him in October from an abusive situation and he was kind of a mess and really, really shy, but now he's the boss. So there you go. All right, so let's get in here and move some stuff around. Wow, Cusco. All right, so just went and rearranged some of their stuff. So this is over here now. This is down here. Put a new little forager in for them. Couldn't find my disinfectant, so I'm gonna have to go through and do that again later. But they're all pretty shook. They're not super stoked. Indy doesn't like it when I move stuff. Chip doesn't really care because he's molting. And Cusco doesn't care because he's with me. So I'm gonna give them a couple of minutes to kind of get oriented in here, and then I'm going to put Kita in. Alright, so a little update. put Kita in here. Goodness. Put Kita in here a little while ago to kind of acclimate, if you will. So she's down here, just on the floor of the aviary in her cage. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm literally just gonna open the door to her cage and let her come out on her own. Everybody else is up here, Cusco's on my shoulder, and yeah, let's see how this goes. All right, so she actually shot out like a rocket as soon as I opened the door, so I didn't get a chance to film it, unfortunately. But she's only been out for a couple of seconds, so I'm just gonna give her some time to get used to it and kind of find her footing, so to speak. And then I'm gonna put Cusco back in, because right now he's with me. So yes, updates. Chip has been pulled from the aviary indefinitely. He is living here now. Reason being is he was getting picked on by Kita. She just has much higher energy than him and is much more dominant. So she wasn't actually letting him eat. So he very quickly lost about 20, I think he was down to 22 grams from 34 in about a month. So that was a really substantial loss. Freaked me right out. And so he is now pulled from the aviary. This is his original cage that him and Nala shared before we built the aviary. So he's used to this cage. It did stress him out a little bit at first being away from the others. So I just put it on one of my bar stools from the kitchen. And so he's like up next to the birds and can talk to them and like hang out with them, but they can't get him, which he actually seems to appreciate. He's looking pretty tired right now. And that's actually because he was just out playing with them for a good 3 hours. So he is back up weight-wise. He's clocking in at 34 grams right now, which is back to his regular weight. I would still like to get him up a little more. He is quite lean, and he is he's also lost a lot of muscle. Just have a really long playtime with Kita and flew around quite a bit. So he's pretty exhausted right now. But other than when he, you know, gets exercise, he is pretty much back to his normal self. I was really worried about him for a couple of months, but the setup seems to be working well for him. He gets out of cage time with them every day. He's so sleepy. Look at his droopy wings. Poor dude. He's also molting right now, so he doesn't really have a tail. But he's perked up a lot. His poops were really runny when I pulled him, and his poops are excellent now. So he's... Hi, Kita. He's definitely on the mend. Him and Kita are friends. She's just a little bit too much for him sometimes, but they were just out feeding each other. I tried to get video of it, but they flew off. So I'll have to get that at some point because it's really cute. There's Kita in the aviary trying to steal Cusco's toy. Wow, Kita, enough. So like I said, you're gonna get told off in a minute. Cusco is actually excellent with Kita. I normally wouldn't recommend keeping mixed species in an aviary like this, over scuffles like this. But they've done really well together. I've integrated them very slowly, and I've had 0 issues, and I've been keeping this aviary for almost 4 years now, 3 years. So I've had really good luck, but I do have birds, and I have had fosters, especially in the past, who are not compatible in this aviary. So I do always recommend, if you choose to have an aviary for mixed species like this, that you have a backup cage so that when issues do arise, you can pull them. Kita's so high energy, it's like not even funny. You're not gonna do it, are you? She does this thing when if I put my finger on the screen. You just wanted Cusco's toy, but normally when I put my finger on the screen like this, she like jumps on it and tries to get it through the screen. She's pretty silly. Andy. Indy is still pretty much untouchable. He is getting a little braver though. He'll take Millet from me now, which is nice. Oh, you're gonna come down here?